Yes, we have Janet with us today, and we're just going to share with you some ideas about joy and how we experience joy individually. And we also want to hear from you if you're open to it. You know, you can be interactive with us and come online with us if you want. Show your face if you like, or you can talk in the chat. We'll accept that too. Or you can just hang out and watch. So we're open to whatever you're feeling today. So let's start with Tanya, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Tanya. I love her, by the way. She's my fave. Tanya has a PhD. She is the author of Stop Worrying About Your Anxious Child and a certified life coach who likes nothing better than helping parents manage their children's and their own anxiety. Using her gift of seeing what others often miss, Tanya offers her clients guidance and wisdom to see possibilities for themselves and for their children. Tanya's work helps parents start to relax and enjoy parenting again. Tanya has an MBA and a doctorate in industrial and organizational psychology, and you can learn more about her at guidanceforthefuture.com. You can also get a free copy of her PDF and her book at from anxious2calm.co. And those addresses, if you want to go back to week 2 and look at that email, you can find that there. You can just click right away. So take it away, Tanya. Let's hear about how you experience joy and what joy is for you.
Okay, thank you, Tornika. So joy for me, I actually, if any of our attendees who've been with us all week, they have already heard me talk about joy because I talked about it on day 2. And I shared with those guys that for me, the way I define joy is just happiness for no reason at all. It's just that feeling when you've accessed something inside of you that feels joyful. And it's almost kind of like, we know it when we see it, we know it when we feel it. That for me, I know it when I feel it. It's a happiness that is, it's rooted deeply in peace, though. That's how I would differentiate it from, like euphoria and crazy happiness. It can be, but there's a deep peacefulness that is associated with what I call joy. And truly for me, what joy is in the mundane. Joy is in the everyday. I thought about it last night because the 4 of us got together and kind of talked a little bit. And after we got off the call, I really tried to think. And I remembered that actually in my book, I wrote about the mundane and just finding joy in the everyday. And I used an example in my book that is a great one, that I use essential oils, like a lot of people. I have all kinds of essential oils, but one of my favorites is grapefruit. I just love it. It just kind of makes you happy. It makes me feel happy. And so I will put grapefruit oil in like a lotion or whatever. And in the morning, it just kind of is like a little pick-me-up, a little happy thing that I do. And the other mundane thing that I would say, shouldn't say it's mundane. Kids, if you're watching, it's not mundane. But my kids, spending time with my kids is truly where I get a lot of joy. And it's not, the big events. It's not Christmas or a vacation. It's just the day-to-day. Sitting around last night, we, had tacos. And having tacos with my kids it's a lot of joy. That's kind of where I find it and how I find it. We're going to come back and talk more about joy with me. So I'm not going to go on and on and on, but I want to give my good friend, my colleague, Joy. Her name is Joy, so she definitely should have some things to tell us about joy. She is a professional speaker. She is a mindset and spiritual life coach, and she is the best-selling author. Her book was actually just released yesterday, so it's a very celebratory, joyful time for Joy. Her book is If I'm So Spiritual, Why Am I Still So Anxious? She's known for her ability to deliver profound spiritual teachings in a practical and modern way. Joy works closely with spiritual seekers who've tried everything to get rid of their anxiety. Joy's Soul School coaching program blends Eastern and Western psychology and philosophy and has helped countless spiritual seekers move from information overload to lasting inner transformation. With more than 2 decades of personal anxiety experience and wisdom, Joy shares her professional experience with the world through workshops, retreats, books, and speaking engagements. She received her positive psychology education at the Whole Being Institute under Harvard professor Tal Ben-Shahar and her yoga teaching certification under the Ansara style. Sorry, you'll have to tell me how to say that, Joy. A therapeutic application of yoga philosophy and practice. You can learn more about Joy and get a free downloadable copy of her book. As I said, it's on Amazon right now, but you can also get it from her at joystonecoaching.com.
Oh, wow.
All right. That was a mouthful.
That was great. Thanks, Tanya. That made me laugh. And now I have so much joy in my heart. I mean, I already had it, but that made me laugh so hard. And I just love you ladies. And I love getting to be here for this hour with you and for whoever is joining in with us. Yeah, that was a long one. I didn't know you were reading my longest bio, but that's awesome. So, yeah, you know, I remember, so my name is Joy, obviously. And, you know, I spent years of my life with anxiety. And I remember when I first went to my first spiritual teacher, and I didn't know that she was a spiritual teacher. She just happened to be at this place in her evolution with her teachings, and she was a therapist, but she was really embracing some different ways of healing and encountering the human condition. And she said to me, she goes, Joy, there is no question. There's no doubt. There's no accident that your name is Joy, because you're here to know joy. That's what you're here for. And in the yoga tradition, we're taught that we're birthed to know our joy. We're birthed to remember who we are. And so to me, when I think about joy, joy has become something different than it was to me years ago. Years ago, I would have said, well, joy is having all of my circumstances in place, everything in order, making sure that nobody's mad at me, that everybody likes me. It would have been all about out here, would have been how I would have defined joy. Today, after all these years of practice and doing what I teach and coming to know myself, I believe that joy is my nature. Joy is our nature, and it can't be changed. It can't be earned or rewarded or taken away. I heard this analogy once. To me, joy is like synonymous with our worthiness. It can't be changed. It's our essence. I heard this analogy once that really helped me. If you take a $20 bill and you ask a group of people, so if I ask you, if I have a $20 bill, I wish I had one, what's the value of this $20 bill? And you would probably say, if you guys could talk back to me, you could probably say it's $20. The value of it is $20. So if I crumple that $20 bill up and I crumple it and I put it in my pants and I wash it and it comes out of the washer machine, and then I unfold it and I look at it and I ask you what's the value of this $20 bill, you would still say it's $20. Well, if I took a big black marker or a big red marker and marked all over it, or my 5-year-old marked all over it, and then I said to you, what's the value now of it? It would still be $20. And that's joy. That's our nature. It doesn't matter what happens to us, what obstacles we're facing, what condition we find ourselves or circumstances, even now in this global time that we're in this experience together, what mistakes we made, what we perceive are our limitations. It doesn't matter what happens to us on this journey. Our joy is innate. And so I believe that every day is an opportunity to choose joy. And it doesn't mean the denying of the facts of our life, but how we interpret them and the place that we come from experiencing them is the practice. It's up to us. So I remember last year my dad died, and the moment I heard that he died, of course, I was just struck with like that deep, deep sorrow. And I remember in that moment, consciously in that moment, because of the years of just practice and the way that I've been living my life, choosing to live my life, I remember telling myself, Joy, my name, Joy, connect to love right now. Be in love, because I knew that being in love or in joy connected me more to him. And my point of that is that when we're love or joy is to me the universal energy. And as we connect to that, guess what? We're going to be nicer to ourselves. We're going to be nicer to others. We're going to have more flexibility in our life. We're going to give ourselves more grace and space. And I think that's so important. And so just know that you're like that $20 bill. Joy cannot be taken. It is your nature. And I actually have this book in front of me, Joy, and it's on my coffee table. It was just over here on this little table. But I'll often just open it up and it's just little quotes on what joy is. And this one says today, choose joy. And it says, resolved that I will take each precious moment and relish all the joy within it. And you know, in Japanese, the word that we often hear this, the same word in Japanese is for challenge or opportunity. So it's how we perceive something. That's so, so important. It's where we have the power. And so I'll just end with this right now, and then I'll move on to my dear, dear friend, Janet. Hold on one sec here. It says, I am surrounded and filled with infinite wisdom. I am one with the very power that created me. This power loves all of creations, including me. And the Sanskrit word for joy in yoga tradition is ananda. And it's a word, ananda or joy, that has no opposite. It has no opposite. So it's not like conditional. It's not like, oh yeah, but not in this situation. Am I worthy or joyful or lovable? It's no in every situation, because there's no opposite. So every day, remember, just if you could just remember the brilliancy, the beauty of your own soul, your own spirit, that taps us into joy. Or that's my practice. So I'm going to end with that for a moment. I think we're going to come back around. I'm playing it off the cuff here with my lovely beauties here. So Janet Farnsworth is a beautiful, beautiful lady. She's coming on next here, and she has a master's in social work. She has her certification at the highest level in yoga. She is a body empowerment coach who helps women bust through old beliefs of shame and blame and instead connect to the body as a source of wisdom, pleasure, and joy. So perfect. Her book, which I believe was a #1 bestseller, is Love Your Body, The Guide to Stop Making Your Body a Battleground, is a how-to for anyone who is ready to feel empowered and at peace with the body they have. So beautiful. And you're going to get to hear and experience her right now. She's got a natural ability just to exude joy.
Oh my goodness. First of all, I am also thrilled to be here with you three gorgeous ladies and whoever is joining us on Facebook or in our webinar or our virtual retreat. So just hello and thank you and such gratitude, which of course is also a joy practice. So I begin with being grateful and I feel better. It's a thing, right? We try that. And it's so exquisite that when we show up for this kind of process, I get to practice the practice of trying to get myself back to joy, which is that in this moment, Joy Stone, you beautiful lady who just spoke, essentially said kind of the content of what I wanted to say. And so my mind says, well, do I just pass it along? Do I try to say it differently? And here's to me the practice, which is as we began this beautiful hour, I had to take a moment to empty out. I had to take a moment to, what I like to think of as just cleaning out the dome of my skull and just washing it out. So it's just empty and white. And then I can connect to what is to me the important bridge from this earthly self to that ananda, that joy you were speaking of, by breathing. Without having to get it right or fix it, I just empty out as much as I can, my very, very busy thoughts, and I breathe. And so even as I was listening to you, Joy by name, it's so perfect, I was thinking, okay, empty out, empty out, empty out. And so that's how I'm showing up with you at this exact moment. Like I thought I knew what I was going to say, but now I'm like, what do I need to modify? And then in the empty place, I find what to me is the connection to joy, which in my practice is being in this earthly body, in the full experience of yourself, including what for me 5 minutes ago was a mild freak out of shit, what am I going to say? To detach from thinking that that has significance or meaning, empty out and breathe. Because when I make room for the experience of myself in all of its entirety, you know, the parts that are uncomfortable, the parts that are achy, the parts that are a little sweaty, the mind that's just saying, oh, how do you look, Janet, or whatever it is, when I open up that window of opportunity to be, I start then in my practice to connect to that bliss body, to total joy. And I'll talk more when we come back around what to me is the meaning of that, to be in this earthly body as a practice of feeling joyful. And I think that maybe I'll just end with, well, watch, it's going to take me another 5 minutes to say this, but this is the last thought, which is for me, joy, as I was thinking about it, is experienced in so many different ways. It's experienced by putting on a glittery top. It's experienced by feeling my sweet sisters and knowing, wow, I showed up for this. This is really cool. I can't wait to hear what they have to say. It's the joy of tasting, you know, I'm casting in my mind for something healthy. I was like, what? It's like, whatever the hell it is. You know, there's so many ways to experience delight, to experience pleasure. And that I will just say that those experiences of pleasure, to me, have a connection between like the moment that we're in, the actual physical living moment that we are in, and some feeling that goes, goes, yeah, goes, yes. Which is why, to me, it can also be in something that is eating tacos with your kids, or sitting in stillness, or which I'm going to invite us to do in movement, when there's the joining, the marriage, that beautiful, indistinguishable connection between this actual moment and something that animates it. What I call spirit, you might call God or source or bliss, but there's something that's animating it. And when we can bring them together, that's when there's like, that feels good. And that's what I'm hoping we're going to continue to explore and feel more as I get the great delight of passing the unmute button to Toranika, whose name is so cool to say. It just gives me pleasure to say it. Oh, and she gets excited about sharing the value of physical movement. You use movement as a source to further liberate the wisdom of the whole body. You talk in my language by creating a safe space for exploration and self-discovery. You are the founder of Somatic Soul Food Movement Consulting and specialize in designing interactive workshops and coaches with individual clients to Fortune 500 companies. I'm impressed. When she's not working with one of your clients, or she's not working with one of her clients, you're teaching at the University of Miami and New World School of the Arts College in Miami, Florida. And in addition to a fine arts master's degree in choreography, you've earned additional professional designations, a certified movement analysis coach from the Laban, can't pronounce this word, Bartnife Institute of Movement Studies. And you are also a registered somatic movement educator through the International Somatic Movement Education and Therapy Association. Lots of words to describe this incredible woman, what she's done. And now I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say right now.
Thank you so much, Janet. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Joy. I enjoyed joy. I enjoyed listening to all of that. It just fills me up with so much pleasure and joy. I thought about our question, and I thought about defining joy and what that actually means for me. And I think it is first. It's just like Janet. It's just like a sense of being present. And it's then for me, it's letting go, just letting go of everything, letting go of what people think, letting go of making sure I get that right or this right, or I'm the worst speller in the world, making sure when I'm writing out some email that I'm spelled it right. Who cares? Just send the email, kind of thing. And that there's freedom in that. And once you gain and gather up all of that freedom, that spirit of freedom, that's what fills me with joy. To let go of the insecurities. That's one way. And then it's also an exchange for me. It's sort of like this continuum of energy that comes in and out, that I share the joy, radiate out, pull some more in, push it back out with who's ever around me within that circle. So I sort of did like this, I just bulleted a couple of things. This feeling of fullness, body, soul, and spirit. It's just, yeah, it's really energizing for me. Joy opens up opportunity. So it's not like, for me, it's not like this feeling of where you're disconnected. No, it's more or less like a full connection. It's more or less of like being grounded, being able to shift in space with efficiency. It gives me innovativeness. It gives me creativity. It opens up a world of everything new. So it pushes out all the negative energy and it brings in this vast, expansive space of risk taking. Anything is an option, and I like what joy does for me. And I agree, joy, that it is a choice. And it's a choice to choose joy if that's what you want. And I love it. And that's how I feel. Yeah, about joy. So we would also like to know from you, from our participants, if there is something, yeah, tell us how you experience joy. Define what joy means for you. How do you spread joy? How do you receive joy? And if you have anything that that you enjoyed hearing from any of us that maybe you would like to share as well. I'm going to send it right back over to Tanya. Tanya is going to talk about and or lead us through one of her joyful experiences. I'm so excited for this.
Sorry, I was still muted. Yes. So thank you to everyone. This is already, I love doing this with you guys because it's not just like me doing something, it is me participating. It's me learning from each one of you and listening to each one of you. And it's just so awesome. I feel joyful being part of it and listening to you guys. So thank you. So I love that I get to go first because I think my joyful practice, what I want to share with you guys is sort of it's the bare bones basic. It's where I started. And it's a great place to start because unlike everyone else on the panel, I am not a expert in movement or dance or yoga or any of those things. I am just a mom. And at one point I have two kids who are a year apart. So I was a very, very frazzled mom when my kids were young. And it was that understanding of what that feels like, especially now in the times we're having where people are homeschooling and working from home and all of the things that we're trying to do right now. I totally get that feeling of frazzled mom and remember it so very well. And it's really brought me back to that point and thinking like, where did it start for me? And where it really started for me was meditation practice. And I'm always hesitant to share that with people because meditation, for so many people who, if you are like I was, meditation was like this thing that those people, those really calm Zen people could do. And then there were people like me who was just like, wah, meditation, there was just no way. I could not meditate. It wasn't going to happen. I knew that. And so I had a big story about meditation and what meditation was and what it meant. And it was the story that was ruining meditation. It wasn't that I couldn't meditate, it was my story. So that right there was a huge key in accessing joy, because meditation, as I said, has probably been the biggest gateway I have found to accessing a place of peace and joy. But I could not ever get there when I had a story that I can't do it, I'm not special enough, I'm not made the right way. I just learned, somehow, some way, I said, you know what, I'm just going to try it. And the mindset of trying things, as opposed to the mindset of, I've got to do this right, I need to know something, I need to do something, it's got to be a certain way, that totally shut me down. And it'll shut you down in almost everything in life. That's a secret to life, really. But when you can sort of let go of all that and say, I'm just going to try this. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't even know what work means. I just know that maybe people keep talking about it. So I am going to sit here and I'm going to focus on my breath. And I'm going to keep doing it every single day. And for a long time, that's all I did, a very long time. And there would be times when I wouldn't do it at all. And I'd go a long time without doing it, months, and say, darn it, I was supposed to be doing that meditation thing. I forgot, but I'm going to go back. And instead of beating myself up and calling myself a loser because I forgot to do it and quit, I'd just go back and do it again. And being real gentle and real open to, I'm just going to keep trying it. I'm going to keep doing it over and over again. Even if I sit here today and all I do is think about what I'm going to eat for lunch. And truly, that is really what I did many days. That was my meditation practice, was just sitting around telling myself, well, I might have a sandwich, but I had a sandwich yesterday. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to be breathing. And then focus on my breath for 2 seconds and say, oh, but that sandwich sounds really good. And go right, your head will go right back to thinking about the sandwich. And that's okay. So meditation is a key. But the important message isn't necessarily that meditation is the key. What I'd love just to share with people is that trying and letting go of any ideas about how you have to be or how you have to do it, or that only certain people can be good at it, or I also had this one, there's only one right way to meditate. That all those other like guided meditations are using an app. That's for losers. That's for weak people. I should be like a Zen Buddhist who can sit here for 6 hours and meditate. That's crazy. There's no right way to do it. Apps are fine. I love the apps. Use your app. Whatever helps you is fine. So that's my first like key pro tip about meditation and how it can help you access joy. And my second pro tip is what meditation did for me and why this group of women are so amazing and so fantastic, and I love each one of them so much, is what meditation allowed me to do is I am, as Toronika said, I have gone to school forever. I am all about thoughts and learning stuff and just being in your head. And I had done that for so long that I had totally lost touch with my body. And just all the wisdom that your body possesses and all the messages that our body are sending us all the time. And how much the body is the gateway for joy, getting back into your body. So meditation for me in the beginning, like I said, a lot of time just sitting around focusing on what I was going to eat for lunch, but it also was taking me back into feeling what my body was feeling in a very simple, basic way. It was nothing magical. It was nothing that like I needed to go and become a Zen Buddhist to do. It was just wiggling my toes and feeling what my feet felt like against the floor. And then feeling my legs and my calves and my ankles, and then moving up to my thighs, and then my pelvis and my bottom, and really feeling my bottom anchored to wherever I was sitting, just feeling into that. And then imagining like a root was coming from my tailbone and rooting me into the earth and making me feel safe and grounded. And if my thoughts would try and come in, I'd remind myself, go back to that root. Feel my body, feel rooted in my body. Feel my torso. Feel my back. Feel my shoulders, maybe wiggle my shoulders a little bit. Drop them down away from my ears. Feel into my upper arms, my elbows, my lower arms, down into my hands. Wiggle my fingers. And then go back up my arms, up to my shoulders. Again, a little wiggle of my shoulders, and then up to my neck, up the back of my head, around to my ears, to my cheeks, to my jaw. Wiggle my jaw. As I was doing this, I learned that I carry a lot of stress in my jaw that I didn't know was there. And so I'd start loosening my jaw, breathing into my jaw. Moving up my face, another place where I carry a lot of stress is my eyebrows. So I'd wiggle and just try and breathe into my eyebrows and my forehead. Move my attention all the way to the very top of my head. And then bring all of my attention to the tip of my nose. And with that, I had just meditated. And it wasn't something special or magical. It was that simple. And that practice is how I started to access joy in my body. And so with that, I am going to kick it to Joy to tell us a little bit more of accessing our joy.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Tanya. I feel so grounded in my body. So yeah, there's many practices that, to embrace in the yoga tradition, in any tradition, to help us connect to joy. And one of the things I love about yoga, the yoga that I study, is that every aspect of ourselves, every layer of our being is a gateway to our joy, to our nature. And so I wasn't going to actually share this, but I just was sitting here, we're listening to Tanya, and guided through her meditation, I just felt compelled to share this particular thing that I'm going to share with you, which may pull me out of my comfort zone, but it's part of my daily practice, personal practice. And it's something that when I work with people, I will often give a personal practice. And this is one that I include, which is the practice of sound and chanting and mantra. And so in the yoga tradition, there's a text called the Yoga Sutra. And in the Yoga Sutra, excuse me, there's 195 aphorisms or little teachings about how to settle our mind and connect to our joy, to live in our true nature. And so my teacher would have me begin by chanting these sutras, these mantras. Now, before I began chanting those specific mantras, he asked me to just chant simply these seed sounds, Namaha, Namaha. And I'm not a singer. My husband is a singer and a musician, and it's always funny because I've taken singing lessons. And my singing teacher actually told me, no, you're not a singer. So I kind of got a little more of a complex about it, but excuse me. But I love singing. I think in my next life, I'm going to be a singer. I think I'm actually going to be Miranda Lambert, because that's my favorite singer. But I love to sing, and this is so joyful. And one of the things that when we chant, we activate a part of our body that's called our vagus nerve. So in yoga class, you may have done Om. There's many, we could go into the whole concept of oming, but it stimulates your vagus nerve. And your vagus nerve is your 10th cranial nerve, and it goes from the base of your skull into your viscera, through your viscera into your gut. And it helps to put the brake on the fight or flight part of your body, part of your autonomic nervous system, and activates the parasympathetic, which is your rest and digest. And when we are in the state of rest and digest, in the relaxation response, it's easier to connect with our joy, to make choices, to choose joy, as everyone's been sharing, to be present to joy, and to feel our own joy. And so chanting is one way that we can activate this. There's actually clinical work now. There's research around the vagus nerve. So I'm going to share with you Namaha. We're going to move our body to it. So if you'd like to join me. So I'll do the first one just to show you, and then we'll just go through a few of these, and I'll pass it on to the lovely Janet. So I start by this every morning. I usually do this standing, but I'll do it sitting today. So taking the arms up on a deep, deep breath, I'm going to show you what I do. So arms up. And I link breath to movement, and then it's Namaha. And the key to that, oh, that feels so good. Now, if you really let it go, it feels so good. And you want it deep from the belly. So you may have heard in yoga, namaste. So namaha means to bow. It means to be in devotion. It means to draw your attention to one particular thing, to say, right now, I'm bowing to this moment. I'm honoring right here, right now. I'm devoting myself to this place. And so to the light within. So you want to make sure that when you inhale, you're linking breath to movement. And so you're not like, right? So it's linking breath to movement. And then when you namaha on the way down, you either slow your arms down or you slow your namaha down, but you're linking. And what that starts to do is it starts to override that monkey mind and brings everything into the moment. So let's do this 3 times together. And just to be clear, all of our guests know this. It's na, N-A, ma, M-A, ha, H-A, namaha, okay? I feel like I had to get close for some reason to say that. I'm not sure why. Okay, so breathing. Let's do it 3 times together. We'll just keep going. No one can hear you, so let it go, okay? You can close your eyes. Namaha. Namaha. Let's do one more. Namaha. And then just keeping your eyes closed, just sit in that pulsation and the energy that you just activated through your practice. Sitting in a state of joy, maybe turning the outer part of your mouth up, just slightly relaxing your shoulders. Softening your eyes, bringing your attention to your third eye. As you're ready, gently open your eyes. So you could do that as long as you like. You could do as many of those as you like. It's a wonderful way to calm the energy in the body, like I said, and get you prepared for deeper meditation. We could have stayed a long time in the meditation after that sound. 90% of yoga practice and yoga therapy is waste removal. So it helps us just sort of shed all the accumulations. So namaste, passing it over to the beautiful Janet.
Here's the thing about joy. That experience left me in a state of such sweetness and a deeper sense of calm, and yet I also feel good. So it's really sweet because this webinar, this virtual retreat, had in it a vision of moving to joy, of being at, like the coffee shop or the dance party with your girlfriends and letting go. And what is so sweet about what we're exploring in this, and why it's a really lovely bridge into what I want to share with you just for 5 minutes, is an acknowledgement and a recognition that we don't actually have to do to feel good. I mean, there's an activation, and I'm going to come back to that, but that this experience of feeling well, of a little bit more peace, a little bit more happiness, doesn't have to be outside of the experience of ourselves. That, going right back to what Tanya said at the very beginning, is such a shift in this world that we live in that says, I'm only going to be happy when. I'm only going to really feel good when I have the right partner, the right job, the right clothes, the right body shape. But in fact, I feel like we're all exploring just in our different ways, is that the invitation is to be here in you now. And that's what I want to invite very specifically. This idea that you feel joy, you know joy when you feel it. When you feel you, it's the first step into feeling joy. Right? Just taking the different things that we've been saying and putting it into this. When I know joy, I feel it. So I want us to feel a little bit more, to take from where Tanya and Joy have brought us to this moment, to start to go back up that staircase of this body in which we feel to the bliss body. And when I say bliss body, I mean that thing that doesn't have a thought. It doesn't say, you're only going to be happy when you look like a size 2. It just knows wellness and happiness and pleasure. And so when we allow the body to move in a way that feels real, authentic, present, without it's got to look good or be pretty, or I can only do when my foot or my butt is a certain size, but we actually recognize, no. There's already something that's vibrating and moving in you that has nothing to do with how you look. We've experienced it by getting quiet. We experienced it by finding the vibration of the throat, which, by the way, is a physical practice. When we vibrate sound, we are resonating in this matter, that which I would say is holy, the universal one, the sound of the bij, the seed, that has a vibration. Oh, I could go on, but I know we're running out of time. So just really quick. Another way in is an invitation now to let your eyes softly close. You are not being seen, so you don't have to worry about how you look. As far as I know, even on Facebook Live or in the webinar, my voice and my image is the only one you can see. So even to my sisters in the house, who are our panelists, nobody can see you. And then to feel now, the same way that you just did, the entire body, allowing your curiosity to go within and to stay interested in how you feel in flesh and muscle and bone. to feel the places where perhaps you feel a little tight or a little achy or maybe a little light. To be interested in how the air feels on your skin and the temperature above the skin and inside. As if you had just landed on a new planet and you were here to explore every aspect, mountains, the valleys, the wildlife, the climate. Take another moment and just be interested in what your experience of yourself is in this earthly moment. And you already know that there are already winds moving in you without effort, this breath that we've explored. You're already being breathed. There's already a magnetism that draws this earthly body to some force that says, you are fantastic. You are joy. Just by breathing. And here's another magical piece. Your heartbeat is already beating for you. And like the sound of your heartbeat, the sound of the drum, the heartbeat of the drum is a reminder that we have a connection and a resonance with this earthly body to the energy outside of us. So as you hear now this heartbeat of drum, which is, by the way, literally the bone of trees and the skin of an animal, this djembe drum, this heartbeat, continue to keep your awareness and your curiosity within. There is nothing that you need to fix. There is nothing that you need to do to already be joy. All that we do now for the space of around 4.5 more minutes is to be interested in that impulse, that deep knowing that you are. We welcome now movement. As we listen to the heartbeat, an invitation to be curious now just about how your foot wants to move. How do your feet and ankles want to move? If you want to stand, please stand. If you want to continue to sit or lie down, follow the instinct, that intuition, that deep knowing now of what you feel to continue to dance that bridge between the earthly body and your joy body. There's nothing that you have to do right. How do your feet want to move? And your ankles? How about your knees and your thighs? Do you want to bend and straighten your legs? I'm going to stand up because I got to stand up, and I'm going to put my hat on because I don't give a shit about how I look. I want you to just take a moment now and actually, how do you want to move your feet? How do you want to move your knees? Do they want to bend and straighten? And then how about your glorious hips? Like you want to rock them a little side to side. You want to kind of sway them or hang them or roll them. I mean, just like right now in this exact moment, how do you want your legs and your butt and your hips to move? Close your eyes. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing because that's just that story. I mean, like, how do you want to move your feet? Your butt, your hips. Yeah, welcome, welcome. Yes, thank you. Yes, that's it. And now above that, you've got this glorious belly. Oh my God, how many times a day do we hold that in or make it have to look a little bit smaller or flatter? I mean, just like right now, how does your belly want to hang? Do you want to shimmy it or shake it? You might decide you want to shimmy your belly and then shimmy your hips or your behind. It does not matter. You just do you, exactly the way you feel. Because what you feel is your language of soul. So just feel your lower half of your body and then maybe start to bring your awareness up to your rib cage and your chest. Oh Lord, do I have a story about my aging boobs? I mean, take a moment and just move them the way you want to move them. The whole body, all the way up to now your armpits. And how about your arms and your elbows and your wrists and your fingers? That's it. And by the way, I'm still talking the way I'm talking because I want you to keep moving the way you're moving while you can hear this drum beat, this reality of what's already in you without the story. And then continue now to keep going up there through the upper neck and the throat and all the way up into your scalp and your head. And maybe roll it, or slide it, or shake it. And how about your tongue and your mouth? For the space of just around another minute or 30 seconds, how about the whole body? You want to shake it, you want to roll it, you want to shimmy it, you want to slide it, you want to stomp it, you want to jump it. I mean, what do you want to do? Because what you want to do, that's your joy body. I think I'm shaking my camera up and down. Move, just move exactly the way you want. Because what your body is telling you it wants to do, that's your connection to joy. Just move about another 10 seconds. You wanna, I'm coming back into the camera. And then take a moment and just let your heart beat, let your sweat, because I have all my windows closed so I wouldn't have noise in the background. Just that. Take a moment and just feel your heartbeat. I'm gonna slide over to Tornika. Feel the energy moving through you. As you let your heart beat and then your blood flow, you are continuing to open the gateway just like you do with your breath of this earthly body to bliss. I love you. Ooh, I feel so good. Okay, Tornika, it's up to you. You got it.
Thank you so much for that. That was amazing. I needed to move and get moving. So let's just stay there. Let's just stay there and let's use this idea of all of this joy that we've gathered through this entire hour. And let's start to radiate all of that joy from within and outwards, starting with your center, right? So we've gathered all of that joy. And while we're here and while we're centered, what does joy look like? Let's give joy a color. What color is your joy? Let's give joy a texture. What is it made of, your joy? What's inside? And while we're here, just think of keep that rhythm going. Keep that movement going. And it starts to bubble up. Started out in a stream moving into a river, and it's bubbling and it's moving within us. And that river is coming out into an ocean. And it's moving into your shoulders, and it's moving into your hips, and it's taking you in a sway just like water, the ebb and flow of movement. And it's moving from the shoulders and the elbows into the knees, and it's getting bigger. And it is growing and expanding. And that joy is moving from the knees and the elbows to the hands and the feet and the top of the head. And it's here and it's big and it's expansive. And you know what this joy is doing? This joy is moving forward. And it's moving back and side to side and up and down in any direction. Round and round. We're in the ocean, y'all. And it's going through the fingers, through the fingertips, through the toe tips, through the top of the head, out of your eyes. Joy radiating out from your soul. And as you're sending it out, it is coming back to you. And there's a continuum and a flow that is moving through your body. And it feels so good to be able to feel joy and to be able to express joy and to be able to receive joy. And we bring that rhythm and that flow back to the stream, back through the river, back into a lake. And if you've gone inner and you've closed your eyes, go ahead and open your eyes. I so hope that you have enjoyed this time with us. I know I have. I have learned so much from my sisters. I love you all so much. And thank you, Tanya, for bringing us together like this. This has been amazing. I know we're a little over time, so I'm going to just pass it back over to you, Tanya. I'm just so blessed to have had this opportunity to be with each of you. Thank you so much for sharing your love.
Thank you. Thank all of you. This was so, so awesome. I hope if anybody was tuning in that you joined in and did all the stuff, because that was where the awesomeness was, is doing it. We don't get anything from watching. We get it from doing it. So I hope you did it. It's going to be up on my Facebook page. So go back and do it later if you want to. I am going to post in the comments the links so you could reach any one of these people. Since you've now seen how amazing and awesome they each are, I would love for you to connect with anyone who you think, wow, I really want to know more about that Toronika or that Joy or that Janet or all of them. So I'm going to post links. You can follow them. You can reach out to them. You can download copies of their books. And thank you. I have one of my gratitude, my gateways to joy is gratitude, and I have so much gratitude to everyone here, our leaders and anyone who is here with us watching. So thank you, and with that, have an awesome Friday. Have a great happy hour.
Thank you.